Hello YouTube, my name is Nero and today we have some Call of Duty Black Ops 3, and what we're going to be doing with today's video is giving you guys my top 10 Call of Duty Black Ops 3 multiplayer maps. And this is going to be limited to the maps that were available to us on day one of Black Ops 3's release. Now, of course, there's going to be a number of DLC maps that are going to release. Right now, we already have 4 DLC maps, as well as we're going to have 3 other DLC packs, which are going to bring with them 12 other DLC maps. And in the future, I hope to do a top 10 or perhaps a top 5 Black Ops 3 DLC maps video. But for right now, this one is going to focus 100% on the maps that are available to us at launch. I want to preface this by saying this is a top 10 video. It's completely subjective. Every top 10 list on YouTube is going to be a very subjective list that is full of opinions, so just keep that in mind. I would love to know what you guys think about my list, and definitely let me know if you agree or disagree with some of my choices, and of course let me know in the comments what are some of your favorite maps here in Black Ops 3. But without further ado, we're going to be counting down my top 10 Call of Duty Black Ops 3 multiplayer maps. Let's get started. Coming in at number 10, we have Breach. Now, this is a very unique choice in my opinion because it was a map that really had to grow on me over the course of Black Ops 3's life cycle. If you were to ask me what are my least favorite maps when Black Ops 3 first came out, Breach would definitely be the front runner of that list. I hated this map when it first came out. I never seemed to do well on it. I always seemed to go negative. I lost the majority of my games on this map, and I just never had an idea of where people were coming from. For whatever reason, I was always getting shot in the back, always getting shot in the side. I never had any clue as to where people were when I was playing on this map, and therefore I seemed to really hate it. And that definitely changed over the course of the Black Ops 3 life cycle. The more I played this map, the more I understood it, and the more I seemed to enjoy the map. It actually has a very unique setting, and before we even go further in the video, I should definitely say that I probably give maps a lot more points than I probably should based upon aesthetic and location, right? For whatever reason, I'm just a sucker for that kind of thing. If your map plays horribly, it's just one of the worst maps in the history of COD, but it looks beautiful and it has a great setting, then I'm typically going to give it a pass and call it a good map. Just that's something about me. I think a lot of people already know that about me, but the setting here is pretty cool. We're set in Egypt, and we're actually fighting on top of rooftops and inside buildings, and it's very fun. It kind of has this reminiscent feel of High Rise from Modern Warfare 2 or Sky Rise, which was a remake that we saw in Advanced Warfare. It kind of feels like that because we're playing on top of a rooftop, but it is a 3-lane style map similar to the majority of Treyarch maps, but at the same time, we also have a number of very unique routes to get around this map. You can do these wall runs that are essentially kind of like underneath the map where people can't really see you. There's just a lot of really cool ways to navigate this map. It has this constant feel of tug of war in the middle where you're trying to always push the opposing team back into their building. It's a fun map to play on. It's definitely grown on me over the course of the Black Ops 3 life cycle, and that is why it comes in here at number 10. Coming in at number 9, we have Fringe. Like I discussed with the last selection, I really like maps based upon their location, and the setting for this map is fantastic to me. So where Fringe is actually located is in a small farm town in California. It's a fun map because it's unlike a lot of the other maps that we see in Call of Duty, which is a lot of construction sites or very military themed places. This is a small farm town. The locations we have to play in are barns and a store and a farmhouse and things like that. There are trailers and tractors and trucks and stuff like that throughout this map that you have to play on. There's silos and stuff like that that you have to navigate your way around. It's a fun map in terms of its setting, at least for me personally, and in terms of gameplay, it's pretty good. It's another 3-lane style map similar to the majority of the Treyarch multiplayer maps. That's definitely a cornerstone in the Treyarch map design, but at the same time, it's one of those maps where you're going to have to turn a lot of corners. You're going to have to turn a lot of corners, and if somebody's waiting for you, they're possibly going to be able to take you out. So even though it's kind of a small map, it actually plays like a much bigger map because there's all these very long lines of sight where people can take you out, and I actually kind of like maps like that. I like maps that have long lines of sight because if you're somebody that has a lot of gun skill, you can typically take people out those long lines of sight, and the other people, they're going to miss you. They're going to have trouble actually hitting you. So I like maps like that, and that is why Fringe has come in here at number 9. Coming in at number 8, we have Metro. Metro is one of my favorite maps in Black Ops 3. Fun fact, this was actually the first map I ever played in Black Ops 3 with its full release, not counting the beta. My first ever game of Black Ops 3 multiplayer was actually playing a bit of Kill Confirmed on Metro. That's just a little fun fact for you guys. Like I said, it's one of my favorite maps to play here in Black Ops 3, but the reason why it dropped all the way down here at number 8 is because this map never shows up in the rotation, and if it does show up in the map rotation, nobody ever seems to vote for it for whatever reason. I never understood that. I feel as though this map plays beautifully. It's a great looking map that plays great. Just for whatever reason, it never seems to show up in the map rotation for me. In terms of a setting, it's kind of just a generic setting. It's a train station in Switzerland. Nothing really too unique about that, but it is a beautiful looking map. We do have a lot of snow, which Black Ops 3, if you think about it, actually has a lot of maps that feature snow. Definitely a lot more than any previous Call of Duty game, where you have a lot of snow, you have some neon lights, you have a little bit of water. It's fun because there's a lot of unique locations for you to play on this map. If you want to try and flank around by going through the water, you can do that. If you want to flank around by going underneath the train station, you can definitely do that. If you want to go headstrong right into the middle of the map, that can be a lot of fun as well. A very unique part of Metro actually is the fact that there's a lot of unique long lines of sight depending on how you want to play the maps. And the majority of the fighting is obviously going to be inside the train station itself, right? Kind of by the train tracks where the trains come through, which is kind of a unique element to the map as well. But if you would also like to go ahead and try and set yourself up some more long-range encounters, you can do that by simply popping your head out of a window and taking out these people that are seemingly forever away, right? If you look at where people come at from the C flag trying to go towards the building, there's just so much room between you and them. It's definitely a lot of fun. So there's very close quarters engagements, there's very long-range engagements, and it really just comes down to how you want to navigate the map, how you want to decide to play on the map, and therefore it comes in here at number 8 because I feel so it's one of those maps that any person of any play style can play on and have a lot of fun with. Coming in here at number 7, we have Stronghold. Now this is an interesting choice because it is one of the 4 Black Ops 3 beta maps, and we're going to be discussing that further a little bit here later on in the video. So before we get into that, the setting, it's a great setting in my opinion. We are set essentially in a mansion in Switzerland. We're surrounded by snowy cliffs, and there's a couple of buildings and stuff like that. There's definitely a lot of really cool Easter eggs on this map as well. It has a beautiful theme, but I feel as though the gameplay aspect of this map is very solid. It's one of those maps where I feel as though it is very well balanced for the vast majority of game modes. I'm yet to play a game mode where I think to myself, wow, this game mode really stinks on this map. It just really isn't that fun. It's a great map for seemingly every game mode in my opinion. What makes it really unique as compared to a lot of the other maps in the Black Ops 3 multiplayer is this is one of the 4 maps that we had available to us before the game even came out. If you participated in the Black Ops 3 beta, this was one of the 4 maps. It was actually the 4th map they gave us. They gave us 3 maps initially, and then the 4th one came a little bit later, right towards the end of the beta, and we were able to play with it a little bit. This is unique because is it going to predispose us to like the map more than we probably should? If you think of whatever it is, your least favorite map in Black Ops 3, I won't say what mine is because that will spoil like what's ahead in the video because I don't want to give you guys hints as to the maps that are going to be coming up here. Picture your least favorite map in Black Ops 3. Would that map be your least favorite map if it were to have shown up in the beta? Because in the beta, you were limited to those 3 or 4 maps, depending on what time you played, and you were kind of just forced to play that map over and over and over and over, and eventually you kind of decide maybe you like that map. I've never played a map in any game's beta, like I'm thinking back to a Titanfall beta, I'm thinking of course of Black Ops 3 here, where I didn't like the map. For whatever reason, beta maps are always the best ones, or maybe they knew that. Maybe they knew this was going to be a fantastic map, and therefore they decided to put their best foot forward and give us some of the best multiplayer maps right there in the beta. Who knows if that was a conscious decision by Treyarch, but just kind of an interesting topic. Do we like Stronghold, or do the majority of people like Stronghold anyway, because it definitely gets voted for a lot because it was a beta map, or is it just a good map in general? That's definitely an interesting conversation to have, but overall, I feel as though Stronghold's one of the better maps here in Black Ops 3, and that is why it comes in here at number 7. Coming in here at number 6, we have Infection. So we're talking about aesthetic, right? We're talking about settings for maps. I don't think that it gets any cooler than this. We are playing in a warped simulation of a historical World War II battle in France. It is so good, guys. Another snowy map. I love snow. I always have. I've always loved the snow maps in Call of Duty, but traditionally, a lot of the snow maps in Call of Duty have been some of the worst received maps in the franchise. For whatever reason, just people never seem to really like these snow maps in Call of Duty. But Black Ops 3 is definitely just playing snow on a vast majority of their maps, and I definitely like that. Now, of course, we're playing in a World War II setting. Of course, I'm going to love the World War II map, right? We have tanks with MG4A2s mounted to them. We have a lot of references to zombies on this map, including an entire map of Derice, otherwise known as the Giant. We have, of course, Samantha's house over there on the side cliff. We have these cliffs even that you can go there. There's an entire Call of Duty 2 multiplayer map on the side of the map itself. It's just a really cool setting, a really cool theme. I don't think it gets any better than this map in terms of theme, but the gameplay is kind of lackluster in my opinion. So I have found that when I play on Infection, I either have an amazing game or a very, very, very average to below average game. It just really depends on how people want to play. It's one of those maps that is very big. It has a lot of long lines of sight, and if your team does not help you, you are not going to have fun on Infection. That's one of those things about this map is if you do not take control of the central portion of the map, the building where you have the gramophone, and of course you have the map of Derice in there, if you don't take control of that building, if you don't take control of the little fountain where the B flag is, like you're just not going to do anything anything. You're just not going to have fun on that map because you're just going to be stuck in 1/3 of the map with really no way to get out. It's one of those maps where it really seems to be dependent on how good your team is. If your team is good and decides to actually control the central portion of the map, you're going to have fun. Those of you guys that played Call of Duty 4 back in the day, and maybe you played on Bog, I think that's a great comparison. Bog is one of those maps where if you control the central portion of the map, it doesn't matter which other side you had, A or C. If you control the center portion of the map and one of the A or C sides, you just essentially win because it's very hard to be able to break out of that thing, and this is one of those maps in my opinion. So I like the way the map plays for the most part, but it just really comes down to whether or not my teammates are going to help me control the middle, and if we don't control the middle, typically I have no fun on this map whatsoever. So that's why it's down here at number 6, but in my opinion, in terms of theme and setting, none better, man. This is probably the coolest one in Call of Duty history. Coming in here at number 5, and this may actually be a bit of a controversial pick, we have Nuketown. Now, the reason why I feel so this may be controversial is this is a pre-order bonus-ish kind of a map, although really you don't need to pre-order too much to actually be able to get access to Nuketown. The majority of Black Ops 3 physical copies that I've seen actually just come with this map by default for whatever reason, so it's one of those maps that the vast majority of people actually have, although I understand there is a small number of people that actually don't have access to Nuketown. But overall, I feel as though so many people actually do have access to this map, and the fact that it was available in the game at day 1, that it's kind of a fair choice to have here in my top 10 Black Ops 3 multiplayer map list. Now, the setting, pretty awesome, right? It's a simulation based on Nuketown and Nuketown 2025 with some redesigns to, of course, accommodate Black Ops 3's movement mechanics, and it's very fun. I like the fact that they added Nuketown back into this game. I definitely think Nuketown's going to be in every single Treyarch game going forward. I just can't picture a game where they don't have it in there, and it's fun. I've always loved Nuketown. I love Nuketown. I love Nuketown 2025. I love Nuketown with a 3. I love the way the map plays. I love the way that you can get so many kills on this map, or you can get so much score, and just how much fun you can potentially have if you're good at playing on this map. Now, of course, there are some downsides. There's always downsides to every map, right? And Nuketown is no exception. Of course, you have those guys that sit up in the window the entire game for whatever reason. They're not doing anything up there. They're not protecting an objective. There's no flags up there, I promise you. There's no hard points. There's no uplink portals. There's nothing up there in either one of those bedrooms. But for whatever reason, people are always camping in those windows, or the people that lay down in the backyards trying to use a long line of sight. Like, those people are always super annoying to play against, obviously. That's been happening since the original Nuketown. But overall, I think the good outweighs the bad on Nuketown, especially here in Black Ops 3, and it's a lot of fun to play. Now, admittedly, I don't seek this particular map out too much, but I do play it quite a bit when we have double XP events, because double XP on Nuketown is a great way to level up and a great way to complete a lot of challenges on your weapons, and that is why it comes in here at number 5. Coming in here at number 4, we have Aquarium. Now, Aquarium's a very fun map to play on, in my opinion. We are set essentially in what is an abandoned aquarium in Singapore. That's really all there is to it, but it's a very fun setting at the same time. It's kind of like Splash, which we got with the Awakening TLC, where it just has a very fun setting, and therefore that setting kind of makes it fun to play on. But at the same time, I feel as though Aquarium plays very well. It's one of those maps that has a very nice flow to it, as well as you have a number of interesting ways to navigate the map. On either side, the left or the right side of the map, depending on which way you're looking, you have pools of water that you can use to get from one end of the map to the other and jump inside and outside of the middle section of the building. There's just a lot of really cool ways for you to go and to use water on this map, which makes sense. It's an aquarium. You would think water would definitely play a pretty big role on this map, and it certainly does, and that's definitely pretty great. You have the central building, which is like World War III all the time, which is definitely a whole lot of fun to me. You have these nice lines of sight where you can definitely take a lot of people out depending on if you get to that point before they do. So if you get up into the window, you know there's going to be somebody coming down that tunnel. You pre-aim them at that tunnel. As soon as they pop their head around the corner, bam, you take them out. It's a lot of fun, right? It's one of those maps where it's definitely very predictable, and you always are in this state of knowing where the opposing team is. There's not too many instances, at least I've had so far on Aquarium, where I think to myself, like, where are they? Where's the other team even at? I don't know where to go. I don't know where I should be right now. I don't know where the action is. It's just you always seem to know, because the map has a lot of great flow to it, while at the same time we have a very nice theme, a very nice aesthetic, and a lot of water to play around with, which is definitely a lot of fun. I love the fact that they made water a thing here in Black Ops 3, and overall, it's just one of my favorite maps to play on here in Black Ops 3. It's one of those maps that I typically do very well on, and it's also one of those maps I see a lot of people voting for whenever it shows up at the map rotation, and that is why Aquarium comes in here at number 4. Coming in here at number 3, we have Hunted. Now, this is actually the second of the Black Ops 3 beta maps to be featured here on my list, and for good reason. It's an amazing multiplayer map. It's one of my favorites to play here in Black Ops 3, and I definitely think the majority of people will agree with that because this map always gets voted for whenever it shows up in the map rotation, regardless of the game mode. It's very fun. It has a great setting. We're set in a big game hunting lodge in the Ethiopian mountains. We have this beautiful giant lodge or cabin, wherever you want to call it, right? This beautiful looking thing with lots of cool little Easter eggs, including some zombie references in there. And then if you go outside, you have this bridge where the B flag is, which is right next to a waterfall, which is part of this nice little river that you can actually go through. And this river goes all the way into a cave, and just there's a number of great settings. We have a lodge, we have a cave, we have an entire underwater section which connects the cave all the way to the building, as well as you can jump off the waterfall and land on the B flag, which is on the bridge. There's just a number of really cool places on this map. The setting is freaking gorgeous. I love the way it looks pre and post patch. If you guys don't know, this map actually used to look a little bit different. It looks good still in my opinion, but I definitely like the new version better, although that's definitely up for debate. That's definitely very subjective. Some people like the new way Hunted looks. Other people decided they didn't like the way it looks. They like the old version a little bit more. That's fine. It all comes down to personal preference at the end of the day, but overall, Hunted is one of those maps that just plays amazingly. It's one of those maps that is just gorgeous and also plays very well. I love this map in every respect. It's one of the best maps in Call of Duty history, in my opinion, and that is why it comes all the way up here at number 3 in my Black Ops 3 top 10 multiplayer map list. Coming in here at number 2, we have Evac, another Black Ops 3 beta map. Now, this is actually described as being an abandoned emergency evac zone atop an overgrown rooftop in the middle of Singapore's flooded quarantine zone, which is kind of a unique setting for sure, but this is one of those maps, in my opinion anyway, where gameplay definitely trumps the setting, the theme, and the aesthetic. So when I look at this map, it's not a great looking map. It just isn't. It doesn't look very nice. There's lots of greens, lots of blahs, lots of just Infinity Ward colors, essentially, right? It's just not one of those good looking maps in my opinion, so I definitely don't really care for the theme. I don't really care for the aesthetic. It's one of those maps where it's blah. It could definitely look a lot better in my opinion, but the gameplay on this map is so fantastic that it trumps that, which is weird for me because this is coming from me who will say, who will defend any map. I will defend CeeLo to the end of time as being the best map in Call of Duty history because I love the theme of that map so much. I'm just one of those guys. I love theme the majority of the time over actual gameplay. This is one of those rare exceptions. Evac, in my opinion, plays just about the best in Black Ops 3. It's one of those maps where I love the way it plays. I love the flow of the map. I love the spawn points. I love where the objectives are located. I love everything about the gameplay aspect of this map. If there's one downside to the map, I would say it's that kill streaks are a little bit harder to use on this map because there's so much interior fighting that you can really have trouble trying to use some big score streaks. But for the majority of score streaks, you can actually do pretty well if you want to throw down like a sentry gun, or if you want to call up a Talon that'll follow you around. Things like that will work out pretty well, but like Hellstorms and Lightning Strikes, depending on if they're spawning at A or C, can sometimes be very hit or miss, and that's okay because the gunplay on this map is fantastic. If you want to use an assault rifle, you're set. If you want to use a submachine gun, you're set. If you want to be a shotgun player, which I use a shotgun the majority of the time when I'm playing on Evac, you're set. If you want to use a light machine gun, you're good. Snipers, maybe not so much, although it can definitely be done. It's just one of those maps that the gameplay aspect, in my opinion anyway, is so good that I always vote for it, and I always hope that it shows up in the map rotation because it's one of my favorite maps to play on, regardless of the fact that, in my opinion, it has a pretty blah, boring theme to it. It's still, the gameplay, guys, so much fun, and that is why it comes in here at number 2. Coming in here at number 1, and probably to nobody's surprise, we have Combine. Combine is my favorite map to play on here in Black Ops 3. I had to do a lot of soul searching while putting together this list to try and rank these 1 through 10, and I feel as though Combine is my favorite map to play on here in Black Ops 3 for a number of reasons. Number 1, I like the setting. It's a research facility in the Sahara Desert, but what's cool about it is there's lots of whites and lots of bright colors and stuff like that on this map. You've got the bright sun, you've got the white on all the buildings. It's a very nice looking map to look at, and it also plays very well. It's one of, if not the smallest map here in Black Ops 3. I don't know how you exactly calculate size. I think Nuketown would be smaller, but Combine is definitely one of the smallest maps here in Black Ops 3. It was available to us in the Black Ops 3 beta, so again, probably I'm predisposed to actually like the map because I played it a bunch during the beta, but overall, I feel as though it's one of the best maps to play on. It is so fast-paced. I can get so many kills in this map. I always have an idea where the opposing team is. It's just one of those maps that's very fun to play on. You have some nice wall runs and some nice hidden wall runs you can use. You have these areas where you always know where the opposing team is going to be. I get so many grenade kills on this map because I always know where everybody is. Like, if they're on the B flag, I can throw a grenade over a building, make it land perfectly on the B flag. If they're up there on that little balcony on the C side of the map, I can throw a grenade over a building, land perfectly on that balcony 9 times out of 10 and take people out. It's one of those maps that I have mastered, essentially. Maybe mastered is a little bit too extreme. I don't think I know everything about this map. I'm no professional player or anything like that, but it's one of those maps that I always do well on. It's one of those maps that is so much fun to play on, and I think the majority of COD fans will agree. Combine was almost a plague in Black Ops 3 for a while, to the point where a lot of people were calling it Combine of Duty Black Ops 3 because it always showed up in the map rotation and it always got voted for. People loved playing on it, that they would play it 4 or 5 times in a row until they nerfed that, and they actually made it so Combine doesn't show up in the map rotation nearly as much because everyone seemed to vote for it. So I feel as though the vast majority of Call of Duty fans would agree Combine is a great map. Now, I understand some of you guys out there overplayed Combine. You play it so much you're now tired of it and just don't want to play on it anymore. That's understandable, but from a gameplay perspective, I really like the way Combine plays. From an aesthetic perspective, I love the theme of Combine, and after a lot of thought, I decided that yes, Combine is the map that I enjoy playing on the most here in Black Ops 3, and that is why it comes in here at number 1 of my top 10 Call of Duty Black Ops 3 multiplayer maps. Now, I hope you guys will enjoy the video, and if you did, please drop me a rating. It helps the video grow, and it helps my channel grow as well. It just takes a second of your time, so please drop me a like if you enjoyed the video, and let me know in the comment section below, what are your thoughts on my top 10 list? Are there some maps that you disagree with, or some maps that weren't even in my top 10 that you would rank very highly? Just let me know your thoughts on the maps here in Black Ops 3. I'll definitely be interested to read about that. And just to go down these one more time for you guys, going from number 1 to number 10, my favorite maps to play on here in Black Ops 3 would be Combine, Evac, Hunted, Aquarium, Nuketown, Infection, Stronghold, Metro, Fringe, and coming in number 10, of course, Breach. Those are my favorite maps to play on here in Black Ops 3, and I'll definitely be interested to see what you guys think about that in the comment section below. Once again, I hope you enjoyed the video. Drop me a rating, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.